itsmintsalad, and I saw Star Trek, the original series, episode 6, Men's Women. It is directed by Harvey Hart, written by Gene Roddenberry. And if you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode starts, and we're following the USS Enterprise, and they're chasing a really tiny ship, and that ship keeps on trying to evade them, even through an asteroid belt. It takes the USS Enterprise expanding their shields to protect it from the asteroid belt, and they're trying to have a signal on, hold a signal for the transporter room. We got this one guy who beams up, right? His name is Leo, whatever his fake name is. By the way, spoiler ahead, this is his fake name. His actual real name is Harry Mudd. However, I'm not even going to remember his fake name, so I'm just going to refer to him as Harry Mudd the entire episode. So we have this guy, he beams up, he's like, oh, you guys are friendly. Okay, let me beam up my 3 other mates. And these are hot women, like ridiculously hot. They are glowing. Every dude on the Enterprise just has to look at them. It's like they have some sort of magnetic pole or something. And you know what happens when you try to overextend yourself and trying to save another dude? All of the lithium crystals, except for one, get burnt out. And so they're only operating on one lithium crystal. Who is this man that they tried to save? Oh my goodness. Man, there's so many dead things here. Is this dead or alive? I can't even tell. Oh, I'm about to fall. I don't want to fall. All right, so we got this guy, Harry Mudd, and his 3 hot chicks. We got to figure out why did the Enterprise risk itself to save these men? Well, not even men. Men and 3 chicks, pretty much. So they have a little bit of a convene. We got the USS Enterprise is questioning, aka Kirk is questioning Harry Mudd. And I'm like, okay, cool. What is up with this guy? Well, it's revealed that this guy, Leo, whatever, is actually Harry Mudd. And there's no data on these chicks. Who are these chicks? We don't know. But also, this guy is a big old liar. I'm like, okay, you're such a big old liar. What am I supposed to like, trust you? You've been lying about your identity all this time. But this guy's like, I'm going to get arrested because I've been evading a starship, more specifically the USS Enterprise. I'm Harry Mudd in this situation. What am I to do? Well, you know what? I could use the power of these 3 chicks with magnetic attraction abilities, not like literally magnets, but like, you know, people keep looking at them. I'm gonna use these 3 chicks to my advantage and get myself one of those call thingies. What are they called? I don't know what they're called. I don't remember what they're called. Let me know what they're called in the comments below. Anyway, I'm gonna grab one of these things. Beautiful communication device. I'm gonna grab one of those. Also, they need lithium crystals, so they have to go to the nearest encampment. Is it an encampment? Mining colony? That must be what it's called. The nearest mining colony, which has all of these crystals, and we're gonna zoom there. We're on battery power. We're on a limited amount of electricity. It makes me think, man, I wonder what would happen if the USS Enterprise just stopped having juice. Would they just start suffocating because of lack of oxygen? There has to be like some sort of precautionary steps to make sure everyone is alive, even after the battery is dead. Like, I'm so curious about this, but this episode doesn't really explain this. I think the episode, it's implied that if you have battery power and you run out of battery power, then you're kind of doomed, you know? So we gotta go to this mining place. All these chicks looking at the male crew members being like, looking at them, be like, wow, they're so beautiful. Even to the point where they're distracted on the bridge. They're talking about these chicks on the bridge. There's even a guy who's like ignoring Kirk to the point where he has to say his orders twice. He's like, I just don't want to say my orders twice. I'm like, oh man, Kirk, I did not want to see him angry. He seems like a good captain. People respect him. What if they suddenly stopped respecting him? What would happen? But this episode doesn't really delve too much into that question. More importantly though, what this episode does talk about is that now we gotta go to these miners, and of course I mentioned the communication device yet again because Harry Mudd is talking to these dudes. Well, I have some cargo, some pretty ladies, and he doesn't like tell the crew of the USS Enterprise about this at all. And we have Kirk is meeting with these miners, and they go up to the USS Enterprise, and they're like, hey, we have a deal, right? Yes, and I also want your women, and I want Harry Mudd to be released. Kirk's like, no deal. He's in a tricky situation because Harry Mudd's like, oh, you need those lithium cores, man. And also you're going to be stuck in orbit for 3 days. Also, there's a magnetic storm happening. And also, all the alsos, they go down. They, specifically being Kirk and a couple other dudes. Kirk goes down to this planet's surface with Harry Mudd and these women. And these women, although previously introduced on the Enterprise, they go beam down to the surface, and they're having a little bit of a gander with them. Oh, they're having a fun time. Well, we gotta see if we like these women. Of course, it takes a long time for these miners to accept these women. They actually don't initially accept these women. Well, they do want to have a dance, and then after like the day after, they're annoyed by these women. And also, I should mention, there's something off with these women. Every time that this lady stands next to Bones's metal, it's not even a metal detector, it's like a medical scanner or something, she go beep, 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 beep. I'm like, okay, something's up. Something is up. Also, there's some more sussy stuff happening. We got Harry Mudd. He's like, hey, chicks, don't consent to one of those, what is it called? Medical, physical. Don't consent to one of those physicals. And I'm like, this is such strange behavior. Here's what's up with it. What happened? What's going on with these women? Well, they are taking a drug. They're taking a Venus drug to look all pretty and primmed up. And then when they're all not all pretty and primmed up, they look like trash. They look like me with no makeup. Wow, they look old. They look wrinkled up. I'm like, okay, wow. So taking these chicks to the miners, and they wake up with the chicks there, and they don't look pretty anymore. And so they're like, oh, we've been scammed, we've been frauded, oh my goodness. But you know what's awesome about these women though? Especially the one that was assigned to have a little bit of a touchy-flu with Captain Kirk. That one's like, okay, you want a wife, or do you want something that doesn't exist? You want a wife that will help you, like clean and cook and cry and all that fun jazz, having a wife, or do you want this pretty thing that is vain and it doesn't exist? And you know what's great about this? Actually, when she grabbed like the pill off of the table to explain that the reason why she's not pretty anymore is because of these drugs, and the Venus drugs is making it so it gives you more of what you have. So if you're a dude, you're like more muscular. If you're a chick, you're more feminine. You got more round features and you look prettier. And what's great is that she grabbed the placebo and even ate it. She ate the placebo. So she gave herself the power to become more beautiful. And so the moral of this episode is, if you believe in yourself, then you're good, you know? There's only two types of people. People who believe in themselves and people who do not believe in themselves. And that is pretty much the moral of the story of this episode. Of course, there's some tension moments, like when that chick just goes running into the magnetic storm and she's not being able to be seen or whatever. She's not being able to be found, so the Enterprise has to go back up, use their searchers, and use all their battery power to find this chick. It takes like 7 hours to find this chick, but they find it after the magnetic storm is gone. And I'm like, okay, woo! All the tension is building. There's so many questions that I have during this episode, like, what's up with these women? This Mud guy, he seems shady. He must have done something with the women. And of course, he has. But luckily, he's arrested, he's taken back to the Enterprise after these lithium miners are like, yes, we're satisfied with our wives now. And also, take your lithium cores. Woo, we got the Enterprise going good again. The Enterprise is all good, all set up with nice new lithium cores, and Harry Mudd is being taken to jail, space jail. You know, I think the ultimate lesson of this particular episode has to be, if you believe in yourself, you'll be good. If you don't believe in yourself, it also makes you another type of person. So 2 types of people in this world, not genders, nope, no, none of that. Only 2 types of people. 2 types of people. People who believe in themselves and people who don't. And this can go across all the genders, all the world, all of the genders that exist in the world. You know, all of that applies. This rule applies, okay? And I like that. Are you the type of person to believe in yourself, or are you the type of person to not believe in yourself? Let me know in the comments below. I like this episode a lot. There's a lot of tension. The chicks were pretty. I also like the chicks when they weren't all makeup up and all Venus drugged up. I thought they were also pretty. You know, just a little bit more wrinkles or whatever, but they're pretty. But they hate themselves. They're like, oh, we're ugly. Oh. And I'm like, oh man, I'm sad. I'm sad to think that you think that you're ugly, but you're actually not. Actually. And they're pretty helpful to those lithium miners. And now they could just be wived up and it's beautiful. Woo! Woohoo! What does Harry Mudd get out of giving these wives dudes? Money? Not anymore. Haha! The USS Enterprise has got you now, Harry Mudd. Get wrecked. So I gotta give this episode, it's a solid like 8.2 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one. The platform really likes that. If you want to fast track a movie review, you can do that for $20 redeemos at patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you like this helps for the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, go to Linktree. So go here, and until next time in salad, I'll see you later, my sour croutons and bacon bits. Whew. Beam me up.